We have big news to talk about today. I know many of my all-time viewers and subscribers are Anno fan, in particular Anno 1800, and we haven't actually talked about Anno in a while. This changes today, because today we got some big news from the Anno team. We got a new dev blog, we also got a new dev stream. Last but not least, we finally have an official Steam page for the game. Anno 117 Pax Romana is coming to Steam. It's actually coming to Steam on day one. Let's dive into everything we know so far. Now, first of all, if you haven't been following, the next Anno game into the Anno series has been announced earlier this year. This is Anno 117 Pax Romana. As the name suggests, we're going to go during the Pax Romana, a period of relative peace and stability of the Roman Empire. So we're going back to antiquity. And you won't actually have that long to wait because it's been announced for 2025. And I know many, including myself, have been a bit skeptical about this 2025 deadline, but actually in the dev stream that just happened, the game director confirmed again 2025. You know, there was somebody asking him, okay, 2026, and I was like, no, this is coming 2025. And actually, I think this is in a way potentially also good news. It probably means that they're not going to revamp everything about the game. You know, the core mechanics of Anno 1800, maybe most of them are still there. And that's why they're able, to get to this timeline. Having said that, there's definitely going to be quite a few changes. The first change is that at the beginning of the game, we'll be able to choose between two starting locations. We'll be able to choose between Latium, which is basically Italy, right? It is really the Roman Empire as you think and know it. And then you have Albion, which is, the Celtic region. Earlier in the year, we had a first trailer, but that was not in-game footage. This was live, real footage. But now with the Steam page, they are forced to put some first in-game footage or in-game at least screenshot. And so we have the first four or five screenshots to be precise. So let me show them to you live and we can discuss them a bit. So we have actually, if I remember correctly, 2 in the Albion region and 3 in Italy. This is Albion, then we have Italy over here, Albion, Italy, and Italy again. How do I know this? Well, you can see, first of all, the color scheme, right, is very different. This is a lot more warmer, right? This is the Mediterranean. We have some lavender fields, things like this. Versus this one and this first one, this is a lot more you have the fog, you have also more steepest mountain, right? You have the swamp over here. So this is the Celtic region. So we're gonna have the choice between those two. Now that doesn't mean you will have to only see one. They have confirmed that regardless of your choice, you'll be able to go to both and potentially even to others. All right, we know in particular, maybe in DLCs in the future, we could have others. Especially when you look at this map that they have shared in the past about the game, like maybe it won't be exactly the map of the game, right? But you can actually see, and sorry, the quality is not that best on this image, but you can see the two regions, like the two starting location, one over here and one over there. And this is the Celtic region, the Italy one, I think in Spain, France, and you have Africa over here, etc. So these could potentially be all regions that are probably not available at the start of the game, to be honest, but potentially coming with extension, because this is all the regions that were part of the Roman Empire at this time, right? At the time of the Pax Romana. So I could definitely see, an expansion for Africa, for example, right? And others. And that is definitely not the only new thing or thing linked to choices that we know we're gonna have. If you are choosing, the Albion region, the Celtic region, we know that you're gonna have the choice for each of your island to go the local way, all right, to keep the culture, to keep, the pros and cons, right? Maybe you have different bonuses and things like this, maybe different soldiers too, by the way, of the local, of the Celts, and trying to basically Romanize those people. So if you look at the tier 1 of population over here, they're called Waders. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but tell me in the comments below if you know otherwise. But this is basically your first tier of population, right? If you wish, your farmers. And then when you want to upgrade them, because that's normal and a way, right? You're gonna upgrade your population through different tiers. So in the second tier, you can choose if you want to go the local way or stay the local way with the smith, or to move to the Roman way with the mercator. and see different houses. And again, I'm pretty sure they're going to come with bonuses. They will also come with different needs, right? The local ways will want, for example, trousers, while the Roman ways will want togas, which will take different resources. And probably also, I'm pretty sure that you're going to have something like the local way. You probably will only need resources that you can have right on this region, right, in Albion, versus the Mercator for the Roman way. I'm pretty sure some of these resources, you're going to have to produce in Latium and then bring to Latium. They're actually talking about it over here, right? We don't know all of the details, but it is almost a given that's part of the Annos, right, to have to also transport resources between islands, between regions. So I think that's gonna be really cool. And by the way, again, what they've said is that you would have to choose this per island. That's at least my understanding, and what I've read so far is that it won't be, each house in an island you can choose. You choose at an island level, but not at a region level, right? So if you say in Albion, I'm gonna have 5 islands, for example, you could have 3 that are the local way and 2 that are Romanized. So that could also be really interesting. And by the way, yes, let's talk about this island thing, right? I know some people were thinking this is maybe going to not be islands, right? Especially if you're thinking about Italy, maybe this is just one big land mass, right? But no, they have confirmed that we will have islands. You can actually see on many of these screenshots, right? We have one island there, there's one in the back too, over here. Here, it is not 100% sure, that may be the same island there, but this one is definitely a different island, right? We can see over here, there's one also in the back that definitely seems one, and also one very far there. On this one, it definitely looks like different islands. So they have confirmed it in multiple, blogs and things like this. It is going to be islands. What I personally am not sure is how does that work, right? Is it, for example, that you have one big island that is Italy, and then you have smaller island like Sardinia that are next to it. You could have also just, it says, okay, this is one part of Italy, and you have multiple rivers. And then the last element is that Anno is not actually the real world, right? They do get inspired by the real world, right? They do try to have a lot of interesting nudges to real history, but they also take a lot of liberties. And so it could just be one of those liberties where they say, okay, Italy is multiple islands instead of, one big mass and 2 small islands. Now to continue on those islands, again, this is in-game screenshots, right? So we can look at them. It is not clear if this is the latest. There are some people that have said this was early in the development, others have said this is pretty recent, although they wouldn't show it. I think regardless, we can align on a couple of things. They have confirmed that it is the same engine, the Anno engine of Anno 1800, but that they have upgraded it. They have upgraded it in a couple of dimensions, hopefully on things like performance, etc., but also on graphics. We can see that the graphics are actually, even from just those screenshots, they're even better. Anno 1800 was already amazingly beautiful, but these screenshots, also looks amazing. They've also added things like more flowers. We know we have lavender fields over here. They said there will be a lot more animals than before, and not just random animals, but also animals that, behave a lot more better and more normal for animals. And same for humans, AI characters in the games. So I'm keen to see this. We're gonna have, of course, as always, mountain, rivers, all those type of things. They have actually teased in the live stream that we may be able to build some things on the mountains. So I mean, a classic things could be mines, but they could be a lot more. And similarly for me, when I saw this one here with a big swamp, I was like, okay, it feels like we're gonna be able to drain those swamps. This is something that the Romans did. This is also something we had in one of the previous Anno. In the tundra, you could drain, right? So I could definitely see this mechanic of, at the beginning, you have a very small space to build, and then you need to slowly but surely drain this to gain, more space to build. So that could be pretty cool. Now switching to the new dev blog, by the way, there's a couple of more information and pictures. We have, for example, the confirmation that there was a large playtest happening, or that has happened in September. I'm sure it was under tons of NDAs, but I can tell you I wasn't part of it, so it's not like NDA or not, I could tell you. But it was there. And I think what's really interesting there is they say having implemented the vast majority of features, right? So a lot of the core features were there. Maybe, the graphics were not there. Maybe the voice, acting is not there, the music, all those type of things probably are not fully there. But having implemented the vast majority of features already in September, I think is a really great milestone, right? And I think that's what they were celebrating over here, probably either the beginning or the end of the playtest. And this is the Anno team. So yeah, that was really good. And of course, they're saying that they got some feedback, right? Feedback on things like the progression, some UI, the island size, and of course, having had all of those feedback, they're trying to improve on the game, right? They're working on the NPCs, on the diplomacy, on feedback units for people and animals. This was I just mentioned, right? That they're going to have a lot more animation and a lot more kind of normal behavior. They continue to work on the controller support because yes, as I said earlier, the game is confirmed for PC and Steam on day one, for example, but it's also been confirmed for PlayStation 5 and Xbox, so we will have the controller for good experience, right? I think one element we're still not 100% sure is we know that for DLCs, right? For Anno 1800, they weren't able to support the DLCs for console, given that they weren't able to support, I think, performance-wise. So hopefully this won't be a problem for console gamers for Anno 117, but without giving on the complexity and depth of the game, right? So we have the screenshot that I just showed you before over here. As I said, confirm for Steam on day one. They are going to share more, I think, probably more in 2025. I'll be surprised if we hear a lot more in 2024, but definitely in 2025 that should start to ramp up, right? If they want to deliver the game in the year. They want to talk about things like the soundtrack, the Anno 1800 soundtrack, and even some of the older Annos. It was really amazing, so I'm looking forward to hear some of this. Topic of difficulty, incidents, all those type of things. So definitely a lot of interesting elements there to look forward to. I do want to talk about a couple of other things that were discussed in the past too. First of all, I do like that they've been involving the community with contests. There was actually 2 contests already, a statue contest and a quest contest, where you were able to send your proposal, look at all of these over here, and there was a winner, and the statue of the winner is being made for the game, right? And similarly for the quest over here, you could send your quest with, what is the requirements and what are the different things that can happen during the quest, and they're going to build it again for Nathaniel. A big thank you to you and congratulations. So that's going to be very cool to have this. And again, I think this is a great way to involve the players on top of things like playtests. Now let's go back to talking about some of the features. First of all, they have confirmed things like trade, diplomacy, religion. So all of the core mechanics I think that you can expect will be there. Now there's 2 things that haven't been confirmed, but looking at this over here, I feel like they will be there. Now the first one is incident, not like fire, but way bigger incident. And I'm thinking about, the volcano that we have over here, and also the strike for the Celtic region. I feel like with this, they're teasing that we're gonna get some way bigger events, but I feel it could be really great to have like a whole island getting, one of those incidents. And then last but not least, a big one is land combat, right? Anno 1800 didn't have land combat, contrary to some of the older Anno. And if you think about a game in the Roman Empire, not having land combat feels almost impossible, right? And I do feel we will have it for a couple of reasons. The first one is, again, this screenshot, this, official art from the game, right, over here, where you can see a small, it's not the Legion, obviously Legion is way bigger than this, but you can see a small Roman infantry troop coming out probably of, these boats there, right? And so I feel like this is the first one. The second is that at a Gamescom this year, I heard there was a session, they showed a bit more, and there was in particular some concept art where you could see defenses, land defenses, and those type of things. So I think this is again another one. And then again, last but not least, is I just feel you can't make a game about the Roman Empire without legions, right? So I'm really hoping personally that it will be there. I know we'll have, of course, still ships. We're talking about islands, so we'll have ships for sure, but having both the ships and the land combat, I think could be really, really amazing if it's done well. Yeah, like personally, I'm not that complex, I'm not that difficult. I would love for them to take Anno 1800, most of it, 90% of it, maybe change small things like, how overpowered some of the items are and those type of things. And then you just add land combat and you make it in the Roman Empire and I'll be happy. I don't need a lot more, but I'd love to hear your thoughts, right? First of all, please do smash like button if you want to see more Anno, both maybe a new Anno 1800 modded series and of course any news about Anno 1917. And do tell me also in the comments below, right, if you did agree with any of the things I've said in the video, if there are other things you would want to see in the game, and I hope to see you next time.